So you're thinking about moving to Dallas, Texas, but you're looking for the good, the bad, and the ugly of what is it really like to live here? Well, I was born and raised here. This is my city, and I've got some insider knowledge that I'm prepared to share with you today. And yeah, if you're looking for the realtor who is gonna tell you how perfect everything is, yeah, I'm not your guy. You're gonna want to go watch someone else's video where it's all sunshine and rainbows over there, okay? But if you're looking for the real stuff, well, stick around because we're getting into it right now. Hey ladies and gentlemen, if this is your first time watching one of our videos, I want to welcome you to the community. And if you want the most thorough deep dive into all things Dallas, Texas, well, this is the channel that helps you do that. So go ahead and subscribe right now and tap the bell for notifications so that you can stay up to date on the current market in Dallas, Texas. Hey, my name is Jimmy Webb Jr. I'm a local real estate agent here, born and raised, and we get calls and emails every single day from people just like you who are ready to make a move in Dallas, and we absolutely love it. So if you are thinking about making a move, then shoot us a text, give us a call, send us an email, whatever is easiest for you, and we've got your back when making a smooth move to Dallas, Texas. All right, we have a lot to get through, and I want to start with the cons first because, I don't know, I feel like all these pros and cons, everybody always starts with the good stuff, right? So I'm going to give you the bad news first, and yeah, fair warning, if you're looking for the person who's going to make everything perfect, okay, this entire channel is probably not for you, okay? Yeah, we give it to you real, raw, and radically transparent, to steal a page from Ray Dalio's book there. But yeah, let's start with the cons, and I've got my list over here. The first con is going to be, listen, if you're trying to walk everywhere, this is probably not the city for you, okay? Everybody has a car. You're going to want a car when you're here in Dallas. You know, the public transportation is not that sophisticated. I mean, we have it. It does exist, but, you know, we're pretty spread out, right? Like, we're not bunched in. We're not limited by mountains or bodies of water. And so we're very spread out here in Dallas. Okay. So it's pretty flat as well. So, you know, you've got little pockets everywhere. So there's things that you can do all over the place. And I mean, it's just the culture here. It's a driving culture. Everybody has a car. Everybody drives everywhere because we are so spread out. I mean, downtown, you know, might be considered walkable if you're down there. Maybe uptown, you know, if you have friends and you live like next to the Whole Foods down there or whatnot. But, you know, it's, I mean, well, to be fair, my sister actually, she did work downtown and lived downtown for a while, and she would walk to work and stuff like that. But she still had a car because, you know, if she had to go anywhere else that wasn't work, then, you know, you have to drive there. So, yeah, again, the public transport does exist, but again, it's not like Chicago or New York or anything like that. It's pretty limited. So you're definitely going to want to have a car when you're here in Dallas. Okay. All right. Number 2 is going to be the flat landscape. Okay. We don't have mountains. We don't have an ocean to look at. Okay. That is one of the cons of being here. I know those things are great to you know, they have a calming effect on people, but yeah, we don't have those. We do have lakes that are spread out throughout the Metroplex here. You know, you've got Grapevine Lake, Lake Louisville, Lake Ray Hubbard, Lake Ray Roberts, Lake Lavon. I think that's all of them. Yeah, Ray Hubbard, yeah, I think I got all of them there. But yeah, outside of that, it's pretty flat. I mean, you will have some pockets here and there that are hilly. You know, like Kessler Park down there near Dallas, and then Rockwall. Rockwall actually, that can be, so there are some hilly parts over there. And if you're in Rockwall, the sunsets, if you're looking south up against the lake, it's really more like southwest over there. You know, up against the lake, the sun goes down. That can be actually quite pretty over there. But yeah, outside of that, it's going to be pretty flat here. It's not going to be like San Francisco or Pittsburgh, but the good part of that is, you know, you don't have roads that are on a 45-degree angle where you're trying to park that or much less drive it, and that's just a total nightmare, right, for most people. So yeah, I mean, it's the flat landscape. It is what it is. So that's what you're getting here in Dallas. All right, number 3 is let's talk about the traffic. Okay, I feel like everybody said, "Oh, the traffic is horrible." Okay, let me tell you the real scoop here. Dallas traffic, yes, during rush hour you're gonna have traffic. Okay, it's not crazy though, I wouldn't say. I mean, they've done recently over the last decade or so, they've done a lot of construction around a lot of the major highways. They actually put 635 Express, which is it goes underneath the highway, which is pretty cool. Nobody's ever on that. I mean, you can fly through that underground highway. And so, you know, the traffic is not really that bad. I know people complain about traffic all the time, but I mean, it's here's the thing with Dallas is, yes, there's traffic, especially during rush hour, but you're always gonna be moving, right? You're never really stuck here in Dallas, right? Like in Austin, I've been stuck in Austin traffic, but the thing with Austin is it's kind of funneled in, right? So, you know, they've got the hill country and everything, and so it's like one major highway. Well, you got a second one if you count Mopac, but you know, there's only one major highway really in Austin, and here, I mean, we've got highways in all different directions, right? And so, you know, you can get away with going on the side roads and taking alternate routes, right? And a quick tip here, if you don't know about the Waze app, WAZE, I'll pop up a little logo or something. The Waze app it's really cool. I won't go all into it, but it'll calculate different routes that aren't necessarily popular routes, and it'll tell you, you know, what's the fastest way to get to your destination. So definitely check out that app. You know, one con as well, kind of in this traffic arena here, is the lack of bike lanes. Okay, it's not a huge biking friendly city, but you know, there's actually a group called Critical Mass here in Dallas. They have them throughout the country, I know, where it's just and I've ridden some of these rides where it's just I'm talking like hundreds of people, you know, maybe as many as like 300 people, or bicyclists, shall I say, all just gather down at the farmer's market, and they just take over on the last Friday of the month. So if you're in, you know, downtown area on the last Friday of the month and you see this critical mass of bicyclists, don't get pissed off. They're just and we did run into a few people like that who honk, but they're raising awareness for bicyclists, right? You know, share the road, people. But yeah, it's not really a bike friendly city. There aren't many designated bike lanes and everything, so that could be a con. You can get around though, you know, if you just plug in, you know, back to the apps, right? If you get on, I think it's Google Maps, they have a bicycle setting that you can set, right? And you can, if that's your thing, then you can definitely use that. All right, number 4, let's talk about this weather, okay? The elephant in the room, the summer heat, okay? In June, July, and August, yeah, it's gonna be hot, okay? You're definitely, when you walk outside, you're gonna sweat, okay? But honestly, you know, I quite prefer it, you know, but maybe that's just because I'm used to it. You know, I imagine if you're coming from the north, it could be a brutal awakening maybe for you, but I mean, I've gotten used to it. I quite prefer it, honestly. I like, you know, getting a tan in the summer, all the vitamin D, you know, it's good for your immune system and all that. You know, it's let's see. With the parking, right? I'm always in the summertime, I'm always trying to find that tree. Or if there's a garage, I'm like, oh yes, I love this, right? If there's a garage where it's all shaded, right? So yeah, that's a thing. You'll definitely want to buy one of those, what do you call it? The shades that you put on your on your windshield. I don't know what they're called, a screen, whatever they're called. You know what I'm talking about. But you'll probably want to invest in one of those for the summertime, for the summer months, because yeah, it does get scorching hot out here. But you know, I'm used to it. I like it. I would much rather it be hot than cold. You know, I feel like when I'm cold and I'm wearing these big jackets, I feel like a marshmallow walking down the street. Like, that's just not my style. So anyway, but yeah, the summer can be hot, but you know that's what you know, a cold beer is for, or you know, a dip in the pool, or go to the lake. As I said, lakes are kind of our thing here. So yeah, there are ways to get around it, but again, if you're coming from somewhere that is not that hot, it does crack over 100 degrees, a bunch of times here in the summer. So just be prepared for that. But also kind of talking about the weather a little bit more here, the freeze warnings. We do have freeze warnings. So when it does drop below 32 degrees, one thing that you'll want to know is you want to drop or drip your faucets, right? So your pipes don't burst. Okay. So we just had this snowmageddon or whatever people want to call it, where we had the biggest snowstorm we've really ever seen in my lifetime, at least. And I know a bunch of people whose pipe burst because they didn't drip their faucets, right? Because everybody tells you, oh, drip your faucet, drip it, but some people just don't do it because oh, that won't happen to me, right? But yeah, it's a real thing. So definitely want to drip your faucets, and those freeze warnings. That's just one tip I wanted to give you there. But the other thing is, let's talk about these tornadoes, okay? I've seen other people talk about how, oh, you're in Tornado Alley here in Dallas, right? And I always kind of laugh because, I mean, technically, yes, we are, but it's really not that serious. I mean, I've seen one tornado in my entire life, and it just happened to happen last year. And actually, it's kind of sad. I don't want to joke about that. A couple of my friends lost their homes. Thankfully, insurance takes care of that. St. Mark's, if you're into the private school, if you're looking into private schools, you'll know about St. Mark's. Their gym got the whole gym just got taken out. It was kind of crazy. And then one of my buddy's businesses, the roof got taken off there too. But not to put like a damper on this video, but that's the one tornado I've seen in 30 years, right? And so it's really not that common, but people like to say that it's in Tornado Alley. Yes, you are in Tornado Alley, but it's really not that serious, and you have insurance that'll carry that for you, right? So the other thing was hail. Okay, hail is a real thing. I've seen softball size hail. I mean, it's no joke, right? So everybody has garages. I mean, that's what garages are for. You park that car in the garage. That's a pretty standard thing. I mean, you don't really not have a garage here in Dallas. So, just make sure you get one that does have one so you can park it in there if a hailstorm comes. But again, insurance takes care of the hail damage and all that. So, just be on the lookout for that. That is a real thing. Okay. Hey, real quick, if you've liked the insights that I've given you so far, would you please tap that like button? It would mean the world to me if you did that. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment below, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have, okay? All right, number 5, let's talk about these bugs, because we've got some pretty serious bugs going on here in Texas. You've got the mosquitoes. I've got a whole list over here. You got the mosquitoes, you got cockroaches, ants, crickets, cicadas, lizards, daddy long legs, wasps, possums, armadillos, raccoons. I mean, we got it all. The mosquitoes, they're not really a thing in the wintertime, but in the summer months, you'll definitely want to make sure you have a can of off nearby, or the tiki torches. You get the tiki torches. I've got some out here. I like that look. I like the tiki torch look, so you just put some stuff in there, fire those off, and you just run those next to you while you're outside, and it keeps the mosquitoes away. But mosquitoes are a thing down here, and they definitely like me for some reason. I'm not sure. I'm just so sweet, But anyway, let's talk about cockroaches. Actually, I had a cockroach. Actually, I was away. I went out of town for I think 5 days or something, and I came back, and there was a cockroach literally right here on this wall right here when I walked in the door, and I was like, oh great. And so I went to get on this chair. I got a paper towel. I went to get on this chair. I put my head down, and when I went to go look up to go, snag him or whatever, he was gone. Disappeared. I don't know where he went, and there's nowhere for him to go. It's just a wall right here. There's a window right behind me here, but I don't know where he went. And so that was kind of scary, but I'm going to sleep that night like, oh God, please don't crawl in my bed or whatever. But no, he didn't. And actually a couple days later he showed up. I woke up and he was on, my bedroom's actually right over here, and I woke up and he was on this wall just over there. So, take care of him there. But yeah, that was kind of a thing. But cockroaches, listen, you get the bug man out, they'll come, service the outside of your home, and then, they'll just spray it down, and, they're not really a big deal. You're not going to get like an infestation of cockroaches or anything. They'll, one will slip through the cracks, it'll show up, and then you just deal with it. Okay. So gentlemen, you're probably going to have to take care of that. Ladies don't particularly like cockroaches in my experience. They start freaking out, screaming and all this stuff. So if you hear your girl scream, then that probably means there's a cockroach you need to go deal with anyway. But yeah, so cockroaches, ants. I had a story about ants I'll tell real quick. I was watching my buddy's dog, and she put the dog food in a thin bag. And it wasn't a grocery bag. I forget what bag it was, but anyway, it was inside a weekender bag also, but it was kind of by the door over here. And I just noticed these ants on my fireplace right there. And then I was like, where are they going? And they got into the dog food. And I was like, oh great, what? So anyway, the ants will get in. If there's a lesson for you there, don't have dog food in a thin bag by the door, okay? And so they will find it. They'll smell. I don't know if they smell it. I don't know how ants work, but they will come in and get after some food that's left out if you leave it close enough, I guess, to the door where they can sense it or however. But yeah, fire ants are a thing. They will build mounds in your yard and things. So just be on the lookout for that. They make things that you can just sprinkle on top of the mound, and it'll kill them off, right? No big deal. But yeah, ants are a thing. Fire ants, if they bite you, you'll have little bumps on your skin and everything. But so just be conscious of that. The crickets I mentioned, they're just out there. They'll, don't be scared of them. They're harmless. If they fly up on you, they just bump off you and bounce off, but they do make a lot of noise out there, mixed with the cicadas that I mentioned as well. You can kind of have a little symphony outside if that's your thing. Lizards, I do have a story about this. So lizards, we had some that were green when I was a kid, and their throat would like puff up and it turned bright red. It was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. I was more mesmerized them than scared of them. They're kind of scared of you, honestly. They'll run away from you if you see them. But we do have lizards out here. Daddy long legs, if you don't know what those are, check them out. They've got these just really thin but long legs. They'll fly around completely harmless. Okay, wasps. I am petrified of things that fly and have stingers, so I'm not a big fan of wasps. So what they'll do is they'll start making little nests. They'll start building nests on the ceilings of wherever, typically in corners. So if you start seeing one of those being built, then just take some. I forget, it's called Raid, I think. Yeah. So you take your Raid, just go spray it, and they'll go find somewhere else. Okay. Possums. These things are gross. Actually, I have another story about a possum. So when I was a youngster. I forget how old I was. I might have been 10 years old. We had this possum that was always kind of around our house. And so finally my parents called the animal control, and they set out a trap, like a cage. And, sure enough, the next morning, we raised the garage door to get, my sister, my mom and I to go to school. And the garage door opens. Boom, there's this possum inside the trap, and he starts hissing at us. These things are gross. They're like giant rats. They're disgusting, but they're harmless. They're not going to attack you or anything, but they're just rummaging around for trash and things like that. But just so you know, they are there. That's what they are, but they are gross. I put them in the same boat as raccoons, right? You'll get some skunks as well out here maybe, but armadillos. If you don't know what an armadillo is, you'll definitely learn. You'll see them splattered along the side of the road mainly, but they're just they're harmless as well. They're kind of cool to look at, honestly. They're I don't know. I'll throw a picture up or something, but You know, armadillos. We got the bugs. We got all sorts of critters running around here. But I think, you know, mosquitoes. Those are going to be the main things that are actually going to attack you in any sort of way. And so, you know, just get the tiki torches or have some off ready to go, handy, so you can keep those guys away. All right, number 6, let's talk about the pollen that happens, okay? I don't know what it is. This is just me. I get the allergies pretty bad. They get me in the transitions from, you know, winter to spring. Like I just actually went through it. You know, you go through a box of Kleenex and you're good to go. And then the transition maybe from fall to winter, those are kind of the times that, you know, you just either get your Claritin, your Zyrtec, whatever your thing is. You know, I prefer more the natural remedies like turmeric. I got a bottle of turmeric up here. That's what I use. But, you know, I mean, it is a thing, right? So one thing that I'll say is you can, on the weather app, I don't know if you guys know this, but if you didn't, here you go. If you go to the weather, if you scroll all the way down, you can see the pollen count. You can see what kind of pollen it is. So I know that my body does not mix well with grass pollen, and so, you know, that when the grass pollen is very high, I know to make sure I have plenty of Kleenex around. So anyways, so that's one thing there. And so actually one story too about the pollen is I just remember this distinctly from my childhood when, you know, so we had this tree in our front yard and the driveway underneath it, and one, you know, spring it hadn't rained for a while, and then, you know, we saw the tree started turning from green to like kind of orange-ish. And then it rained one day, and all that orange stuff, aka the pollen, ended up on the driveway, and it was literally covered. It was bright orange, kind of like that orange right there. It was completely covered. It was so gross. But you know, hey, the pollen is serious out here, so make sure you have whatever remedy that is going to be your mix. You know, make sure you have that ready to go. All right, number 7, let's talk about the property taxes. Okay, property taxes, just based on what I've seen, they're going to be higher typically than other states. But the catch here is we don't have state income tax, and so, you know, they got to get you somehow. And so how they get you here is through property taxes. Okay, and you know, if you want some more actually in-depth information, I do another video where we actually do a comparison between property taxes, or not just property taxes, but all taxes from California versus here in Dallas. And so check that out if you want a more thorough, in-depth look at that. You know, you can go, if you want to use our channel, just go to our homepage there and search in the search bar. You can search for whatever you're looking for, whether it's a neighborhood, whether it's, you know, a specific topic, whatever it is, search it in the channel. And if we don't have that, if we haven't covered that topic yet, then just drop it in the comments, let me know. And, you know, we do it by, you know, what's most popular, what do people want to see. And so if you just drop that, if I get a bunch of comments like that, I'll make a video, I'll get it out to you guys, okay? All right, number 8, let's talk about the crime, okay? There is crime, obviously. It does happen, unfortunately. And, you know, mainly it's the worst parts are going to be in South Dallas. I mean, this is common knowledge. You know, if you go to niche.com, South Dallas is a C- when it comes to crime. You know, I feel like the more north you go, you know, the better or worse crime. You get what I'm trying to say. The less crime is going to happen the more north you go, I feel like. You know, especially like Frisco, I know they don't tolerate, you know, panhandlers on the roads and everything like that. So, you know, it's just things kind of, you know, stay in South Dallas is kind of where it's the worst. But, you know, that's just kind of part of life. But again, just want to give you a heads up on that. All right, number 9, let's talk about the public schools. So public schools in Dallas and DISD, they're not going to be the best. You know, you'll find some that here and there that are okay, but they're generally not going to be rated very high. But, you know, if you go to like Highland Park, you know, they are rated very high there. And then obviously in the suburbs, I think, you know, you've got some A+ rated schools and everything up there. You know, in the Frisco, Allen, McKinney areas, Plano, you know, places like that. Not just those, there are others, but, you know, the schools, just a heads up, you know, if you're going to stay in Dallas, you might be considering private school. And so if that is a consideration for you, I went to private school here. I'm still involved in that community. So let me know if that's something that you're looking for. I'm happy to make some introductions, get you into some conversations with some counselors and everything, if that is what you're looking for. All right, number 10. So you know those cities that never sleep? Well, Dallas is not one of those cities, okay? So if you're looking for public transportation or a bite to eat, maybe late at night, it's gonna be hard to find, okay? The bars close at 2 a.m., so just a heads up there. You know, some of them might stay open till 3, but they won't serve alcohol past 2 o'clock type of thing. So, you know, that's kind of the vibe here in Dallas. All right, number 11. This is a big city, so you are not gonna have a small town vibe here. Now, that being said, there are neighborhoods where you can get that small town vibe, okay? So if that's what you're looking for, definitely make sure you reach out and I can point you in the right direction there, okay? But yeah, this is a big city. It's very spread out, so small town feel, not gonna happen in Dallas, but you know, again, there are suburbs where you can find some of that. All right, so I don't want to make you not want to move here, but you know, I feel like everybody just leads with all the good stuff and they just dabble in the bad stuff because they're scared, right? But you know, hey, I hope you appreciate what we've covered so far. If you would, tap that like button. It would mean the world to me if you did that. And comment below if you have any questions once again. So let's talk about some of the good stuff, though. There's plenty of good stuff. There's a lot of people moving here for a lot of reasons. And so the first one I want to talk about is the job market, okay? Job market is thriving. I'm sure you've probably seen a lot in the news. We've got headquarters coming here. You know, Texas is a very business-friendly state. And so, you know, a lot of companies are moving here. And so just for example, in Frisco, they're saying that Frisco is going to have more square footage of office space than downtown Dallas in the next 5 years. And, you know, just from my perspective, I can definitely see that happen. But, you know, again, if you're a go-getter, if you're looking for opportunities, I think Dallas is an incredible place to be right now. Even, you know, after the pandemic, I think a lot of people are moving here. A lot of, you know, startups are coming to Dallas. You know, it's a very business-friendly place to be, as I mentioned earlier. But let's talk about number 2, you know, the cost of living here in Dallas. This is just another perk, right? Where when we compare it to other states, you know, we've got other videos like that where we talk about cost of living versus California versus New York. You know, you could buy almost 3, definitely 2, almost 3 houses for what you can get in California to over here in Texas, right? So the cost of living is generally going to be a lot lower from, you know, well, not every state obviously, but from a lot of states. I mean, we get a lot of calls from California and New York and places like that. And so, you know, people are coming here because the cost of living, you can get a little more bang for your buck down here, right? And so that's a definitely a big pro. Third pro is going to be, listen, we get some beautiful weather in the fall and in the spring. I mean, literally, like, you can cut the AC off, put all the windows up, just have that nice breeze coming in. I mean, it is literally gorgeous. I mean, we don't get, I mean, yeah, we get the snow every once in a while, and then the summer can be brutal for some people. I mean, like I said before, I kind of enjoy it, but having that nice tan, right? But you know, listen, in the fall and in the spring, these seasons are kind of extended more so than maybe they are in other places. But I mean, it's beautiful here in the fall and the spring. I mean, the weather doesn't get much better. And then, can I just say, from a guy's perspective, when the women start, you know, busting out the sundresses and everything, I mean, guys, are you with me or are you with me? Okay, love it, girls. So listen, the Southern culture, okay. The people here are, I mean, it really is true. I mean, everybody's pretty nice. I mean, everybody's pretty welcoming, pretty open. You know, this isn't New York where everybody thinks you're an asshole. Like, you know, we're pretty open to, you know, making friends and, you know, having new people join the group and stuff like that. You know, yes, ma'am, no, sir, all that sort of thing. Holding doors open. I mean, that's the culture here. So, you know, listen, if you're an asshole, you know, maybe go somewhere else. But, you know, we like to, you know, take care of our own down here. And so again, that culture is going to be one of the things that will strike you. You know, some people I know. We've moved some other people and they get like caught off guard by it sometimes. They think it's inauthentic sometimes because it's not what they're used to. Well, let me tell you, like, yeah, people are genuinely nice down here. And so, you know, they'll say hello, they'll nod, they'll acknowledge your existence when you walk by the street, things like that. So, you know, that is a real thing down here. Okay. Let's talk about the next one, which is going to be, listen, the entertainment is endless down here. We've got all of the sports teams. We got the Cowboys, the Stars, the Mavs, the Rangers. They just built that new stadium. So finally, we don't have to bake in the sun out in that outdoor stadium over there in Arlington. They put a roof on it, and it's so nice in there too. I actually went to opening day at that new stadium, and it is gorgeous in there. I mean, they really did a great job. There's tons of stuff to do in there too. So you got a great view from all different angles. I kind of walked around. You know, we had a buddy that had a suite. We had a buddy down on the front row, so we were kind of bouncing around the stadium a little bit. So yeah, that stadium is awesome. Obviously, if you haven't been to Jerry World yet, you know, you're gonna love that. I actually used to be a flag runner for the Dallas Cowboys, so when we would score, you know, I would run the flag with the star on it. I was one of those guys in the cowboy hat and everything. So shout out to my boys if any of y'all watch this video. But yeah, I mean, we have a ton of fun here in Texas. All that. So Rangers and Cowboys are out in Arlington, you know, so they can pick up a little bit from the Fort Worth crowd as well. But Dallas is going to have your Mavs and the Stars. They're going to be at the American Airlines Center, which is right in downtown Dallas right there. So obviously that's a fun time. You know, if you like Luka Doncic, hey, that guy plays on a different level. I love watching him play. And the Stars games, I will tell you this. This is my opinion. I think the atmosphere in a Stars game is the best in Dallas. No question, okay? And I could go on and on about that, but I'm not going to do that in this video. But Stars games, do not sleep on the Stars. Some of the best atmosphere in Dallas for sure, okay? So also it's a big stop for a lot of musical artists as well, right? So, you know, I mean, we've got tons of different venues around here. I mean, I could go through. There's too many really to count, or to list off. But I mean, you'll have Dallas is a main stop, right? And a lot of people. Austin is a big music town as well. So some people or some artists will swing through Austin. Austin's like 2.5 hours away. So if one of your favorite artist goes down to Austin, I mean, that's a day trip right there. Or maybe, you know, if it's a show, you'll probably spend the night, right? Because you don't want to drive back to Dallas. I just realized that. But yeah, I mean, so you're right here. You know, we get a lot of people that come through here. Okay. Next one, let's talk about the state income tax. Okay, there is none here. You know, you're not going to pay a single penny of state income tax here in Texas. Obviously, like I mentioned earlier, they do get you on the property taxes, but, you know, again, comparing to other states, like we did one with California, I mean, it's still, the cost of living is just, it's going to be lower here in Texas. So that's definitely a big perk, okay? Next, let's talk about the major airport. We got DFW, which is one of the major hubs in the entire country. And it's right in the middle between Dallas and Fort Worth. You know, from most areas here in Dallas, you're 20-30 minutes away from the airport, so it's not really a big deal. You know, if you're right there in like Irving or Capel, Southlake, I mean, you're like 5-10 minutes away. But yeah, again, major airport there. You know, we've also got Love Field, which is situated nicely just northwest of Dallas, you know, probably 5 minutes from downtown Dallas. So, you know, we've got two really good so if you don't know, Love Field is you know, Southwest Airlines. That's kind of where the hub of Southwest Airlines, where it grew, right? And so, you know, that's no slouch of an airport over there as well. But you've also got, I live not too far from a private airport over here, so, you know, you've got all sorts of different airports over here in Dallas, okay? And good flight prices too, because you're not having to like connect to different places as well, right? So like a lot of Austin, if you're flying into Austin, or flying out of Austin, you'll have to come to Dallas and then go out, right? Well, here you just eliminate one of those trips, one of those stops, and then you just get that one-way flight. Okay. So, all right, next up, yeah. So road trips. We've got a lot of cities right here next to us, right? So Austin, I mentioned, 2.5 hours away. Houston, you're talking about maybe 4 hours, maybe 5, depending on how fast you drive, right? So if you want to get down there, that's not too far. San Antonio, about the same, I'd say, from Houston. Louisiana, if you want to get over there, if you want to go to Shreveport, there's Shreveport's known for, some gambling. So if you want to go gamble a little bit, you can go over to Shreveport. New Orleans, I made that drive once. That was 7 hours over there. Obviously you can fly there as well, but you got Oklahoma City and Tulsa, which is 3 hours, and then I forget which one's first. I think Oklahoma City's first, and then Tulsa. So Oklahoma City's I think 3 hours away, and then maybe another 45 minutes to Tulsa if that's your thing. Choctaw. So before you get to Oklahoma City, you'll see Choctaw. That's one of the big casinos out here. Shreveport's kind of the smaller one, and so I'm not a huge gambler, but I know most people go to Choctaw. There are a lot of, speaking of musical artists, they'll have a lot of artists go out there to Choctaw as well, right? So, you'll have people go through there, okay? All right, next, let's talk about the master planned communities. We have a ton of master planned communities that, listen, Dallas has been growing for the last really couple of decades, when it started. Listen, I remember when, actually it's this way, Plano and Frisco, that was all farmland not too long ago. I mean, a couple decades ago. And so, they've really done a great job of really planning these communities out and really situating things where things make sense, right? And so they've really done a great job. They have one of the things that I noticed is, they put all the power lines and everything in the ground, so it's not an eyesore up top when you're driving around and everything. So there are tons of master planned communities as Dallas has grown, which it will continue to do so. Okay. All right. Lastly, let's talk about that lake life. Okay, lake life is definitely a big thing. We don't have the ocean. We don't really have a ton of mountains, right? And so the lake life is definitely a big thing. So if you like boats, a ton of people take their boats out, go wakeboarding or whatever it is that you like to do. We've got what I mentioned earlier. I think it was 5 lakes before. I mean, we've got a ton of lakes, within an hour's drive of Dallas, right? So you've got 5 of them within an hour's drive. So, can't beat that. So if lake life is your thing, then you're going to love Dallas. So yeah, I think that about wraps it up. The pros and the cons. Hopefully you got some value out of this. If you did, please, again, tap that like button. If you haven't already, or if you did, maybe tap it a few more times, right? And so don't forget to subscribe as well if you want to stay up to date on the current market in Dallas, Texas. We drop new videos every single week, and yeah, I mean, we do all sorts of things. We do vlogs, we'll do resident interviews. Don't just take my word for it, okay? I've interviewed plenty of residents where they talk about, I get their perspective on, okay, what is it really like to live in this area? So go check that out. If you go to our channel, go to our main page and use the search bar within our channel, you can search for whatever area that you're interested in and find everything that we've done on there. And if we haven't done yours yet, then leave a comment below. Let us know which area you'd like us to cover, and we'll definitely get that out based on popular demand. Okay, let's see, what else do I have here? Anything else? Yeah, I think that's it. So again, if you are thinking about buying or selling in Dallas, Texas, shoot us a text, give us a call, send us an email, whatever way is going to be easiest for you, and we'll be happy to help you make a smooth move in Dallas, Texas. And until next time, we'll see you around town.